Well, very interesting new developments in the Durham report, which is still going on. Usually quiet, but occasionally surfaces with something interesting. Well, our federal government is paid for Russian disinformation to frame the president of the United States for colluding with Russia. So all those years, and they're still pushing that he's somehow a Russian spy. I don't know how people are still coming to that conclusion. They won't let go. The FBI put a contributor in the Hillary Clinton campaign's Donald Trump smear dossier on FBI payroll as a confidential human source after investigating Igor Danchenko for allegedly spying for the Russian government. The filing contains this bombshell and 7 other significant details about the Democrat-led plot to use U.S. intelligence agencies to deny Americans the results of their choice for president in 2016. So the FBI made Danchenko a confidential human source, providing him and the FBI's use of his national security cover in March 2017, and terminated that designation in October of 2020. I guess right up until the election, they figured they don't need him anymore. They've got this in the bag thanks to his help, and now they just discard him like he meant nothing. But it turns out that this guy Danchenko is the originator of the false claim that trumpeted all over global media that Donald Trump told prostitutes in Russia to pee on beds that the Obamas had slept in a Russian hotel. So apparently he's a vindictive freak. They paraded that all over the media, didn't question it critically because people wanted to believe it, and it turns out it was all made up, and the guy was getting paid by U.S. tax dollars. Can you believe that? So the FBI had previously targeted Danchenko, Christopher Steele's primary source, as a possible Russian agent. But after discovering Danchenko's identity as Steele's subsource, rather than investigate whether Danchenko had been feeding Steele Russian disinformation, they say, hey, you know what? Why don't we just pay you? So Danchenko, he faces trial next month on 5 counts of lying to the FBI related to his role as the Steele's primary subsource. Also, according to the special counsel's office, Danchenko fed Steele at least 2 false claims about Trump that originated in part from Dolan. So this whole thing was manufactured internally. Hillary Clinton campaign, DNC, this guy Dolan and Danchenko, and I'm sure many others, as hopefully the Durham report will unravel. There you have it. The FBI paid for Russian disinformation to target a U.S. president. As this comes full circle, they should have known this internally, that this was BS. They probably did, but they were willing to do it just to get rid of Trump, make it look like a legitimate investigation. But it turns out the federal government paid for Russian disinformation to frame the president of the United States for colluding with Russia. I mean, they could have gotten us into war, but this is how the deep state works. They can't have an outsider like Trump interfere in their globalist plans. Also, the FBI and special counsel Robert Mueller's team continued to use Danchenko as a paid confidential human source, even knowing his stories were fabrications. Again, the ends justify the means, and they had to take out their political opponent, Trump. In fact, Mueller's team was so focused on getting Trump, it completely ignored whether the Steele dossier included Russian disinformation, which it obviously did. So from this filing, we now know that the primary subsource for the Steele dossier, paid for by Clinton, was not merely a Russian national who fabricated the intel, but also a suspected Russian agent. You'll use anything. You just need to get the people to believe you that somehow Trump was associated with the Russians and they colluded to steal the election. No, they made that all up. They knew it from the get-go. They're all tied into this, and hopefully the Durham report will continue to unravel this, or we have no future going forward. The FBI has been completely politicized. They are going after Trump and just about anybody associated, trying to find something. It's the continuation of the fishing expedition that they began under this Mueller report. So for all of Hillary's vapors over Trump's connections with Russia and his supposed collusion to interfere, the evidence shows that it's Clinton that holds that dishonor. So John Durham's special counsel team further exposed the incompetence or corruption of the FBI when it introduced the public to Bemd Kulin, a German citizen who I've probably mispronounced his name, who served as the general manager of the Ritz-Carlton Moscow in June 2016. That's when this whole rumor of this P-tape tale was purportedly sourced. Kulin will also testify that he never heard any story resembling Steele's reporting until it became public and never discussed those claims with Danchenko. So internally, you'd think that this actually happened, that the housekeepers or whatever are going to complain like, oh my God, our VIP guest Trump, there's pee all over the beds, oh my God, and they had hookers in there, they were loud, they didn't leave. I mean, they could just make, if something like that actually happened, they would have enough rumors and anecdotes and probably video footage that this actually happened, but it didn't. And now it might be coming back to haunt them, as he's going to be set to testify that this was made up from the get-go. And if 6 years after the fact the prosecutors could locate and still question this guy, then the Crossfire Hurricane team could have done the same for Steele's reporting and quickly disproved the dossier. But that would be a non-politicized FBI that was actually caring about finding the truth and doing their jobs. But when they're joined at the hip with the deep state and the most corrupt elements of the DNC Democrats and maybe even the GOP at the highest levels, they want to get rid of any outsiders interfering in their plans. Well, so yeah, bombshell development. It's good to know that the Durham thing is still going in the background somewhere, and there is going to be a key trial coming up in October. Hopefully another October surprise, unless they try to bury it again, saying it's a Russian disinformation. But I think they've played that card too many times. They don't have enough proof to back that up, and they can no longer continue to brainwash and gaslight their followers, no matter how much they want to believe it. So we'll see how it develops as we head to this historical midterm election. So thank you all for listening, and we'll catch you next time.